Welcome to Just Talkin, where passion meets the plate. I'm Chef Lou, your guide through the flavorful landscapes of Monmouth County and beyond, right here on our podcast. Today, we're spicing things up with a special guest, Chef James Avery. You might know him from the fiery kitchens of Hell's Kitchen and his dynamic journey alongside Gordon Ramsay, but that's just a taste of his story. Chef James is marinated in the rich broth of Monmouth County's culinary scene, seasoning his skills, crafting a journey that is as unique as his dishes today. So let's get into it with our friend Chef James Avery and talk about what's going on in the future landscape of his restaurants and the world today of Chef James. Jeff,
sure.
Welcome.
Thanks,
welcome.
man. Thanks for having me.
Listen, can you kind of like tell everybody what inspired you to become a chef and what the early experiences that shaped your journey?
Yeah. So, I didn't have this like deep burning passion for food when I was younger. I really just kind of fell into it. I grew up right down the street from where we are right now in Spring Lake. And I had an urge to make money. So I started working in a pizzeria, delivering pizzas. And I was a horrible student, horrible student. I hated school, but I liked making money. So I always went to work. I always kind of pursued that. And once I was in the restaurants, I kind of got like attracted to the lure of it, all of it, the front of house, the back of house. I really just liked restaurants because the money was quick. You went to work and you walked out with money.
This is in high school?
This was in high school,
Okay.
17, yeah. And I did that all through high school, went to college. I served, I bartended, I valeted. I did pretty much everything you could do within the hospitality world. And I was like, I don't know if I can make a career out of this. I mean, if I want to really understand this, I should look into becoming a chef. And I was a sophomore, junior in college. I was 21 at the time, and I went to Brio Tuscan Grill. I got hired to work garde manger, and the rest was kind of history. I loved
Your first stint in the kitchen in
first,
Guarmo.
like, in the actual kitchen.
And what part of the state was this?
This was in Florida.
Florida?
Sorry.
You went
yeah,
down
I was
to
in
Florida.
college in Orlando, Florida. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So yeah, hospitality was huge down there.
Yeah.
I had a love for. I think we're all wired a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all meaning us, chefs specifically, but hospitality lovers, people that actually enjoy the business. It's a high-paced, a fast-paced, high-stress environment.
Sure.
And I did well in it. I
Thrived.
I thrived in it, and I stuck to it. And then, like anything, I tell a lot of guys this. We can touch on it later. It's like it's not always about passion. People think that you have to be so in love with what you do every day. Right. It wasn't the passion for cooking that got me in. It was the passion for the getting
rush
in there and getting.
Well, what was the pivotal moment that changed you to almost gear towards your lifestyle in staying in that?
Just sticking with it. I think I found that I was good at it.
Yeah.
I think, and there is a creative side. No, I'm not saying I'm not creative. I mean, I have an extensive cookbook collection. I love reading cookbooks. I follow a ton of chefs. I do all that now. But the initial, urge to get in the kitchen wasn't like chop. I wasn't just playing around with food. And as I tried getting out of it when my first child was born, and I missed it.
You tried running away from it?
Yeah. I was gonna. We had moved back from Florida in 2005, and came back to Jersey Shore, and this was, there was no restaurant. It was like, how Jersey Shore is for the most part. It was pizzerias, sports bars. I'm like, well, I didn't spend the last 5 years of my life like developing a craft, just in like skill sets to come, work at a sports bar.
And this was home though.
This was home.
Yeah,
where I'm
this
from.
was home.
Yeah, my wife. I met my wife in Florida. She's from Monmouth County as well.
Wow.
She's just a little bit younger than me.
You were both in college?
Yeah, I met her at a bar in Fort Lauderdale.
That's crazy.
Boca Raton. Yeah, and it was just like, so when she got pregnant, we moved back, and I was like, well, I got into construction for a year, and then I did some personal finance stuff for a year. That's what her side of the family does. And I just missed it too much. I was like, this isn't
You
for
need
me.
it in
And
you.
I went back to work for David Burke.
Which one?
I went to Fromage when he took it over.
Farmingdale, right?
No, it's in Rumson.
Rumson.
So I did that, and then did that for a little bit, and then I tried opening up something down here in Belmar. And my family had a piece of property, so I did a juice bar. I'm like 26 at the time, 27.
Mm-hmm.
I did a juice bar, and then we did a burger place. And I was like, this isn't what I want to do. I want to be running like a chef, white coat, get in there. So I drove a taxi for a little while trying to figure out what my next plan was going to be. And then in 2010, that's like when I really was like, all right, like I've been doing this through college. It was a job. I worked for some decent chefs at this point in time. I was like, I want to go to Atlantic City and see if I can really like make a go at this. So on a whim, I drove down to Atlantic City. I got hired working for Michael Mina, one of his restaurants, under this guy Anthony Amoroso. Anthony Amoroso had just beaten Morimoto on Iron Chef. So I was like, I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
This seems like an environment where like I can like
Exciting.
really build a career. And it was like pretty much it was like, okay, I'm at the Jersey Shore. Do I want to go to New York? An hour and a half away.
You had options. You had options.
But I went to Atlantic City, and I think that was kind of what really was like solidified me that this.
What casino was that?
That was at Borgata.
So you're in the Borgata at how old?
I was 28, 29.
Oh, that's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Just getting married,
Yeah, had a young family. Yeah, well, just one kid at the time.
Right. So now you're in. You're. What got you to where you are today? Like, how did you get picked up? Next thing you know, you're on TV.
Honestly, right place at the right time, always working hard. So, like I said, when I decided,
See, kids.
It's true. But
it is true.
But you do make your own luck. You have to. Miracles happen, but you got to meet God halfway. You got to be out there doing things. You can't just wait for things to fall in your lap, because they won't. You know. But so I'm in Atlantic City, and I'm driving down there, and I'm hustling my tail off, making like $11 an hour. With a young family. Luckily at the time, my wife had a job as well, and we were able to make it work. But I did that for about a year or so, and during that time, Chef Andy from Hell's Kitchen, who at the time was working for Gordon, was on the show, had a relationship with my boss, Anthony, who I just mentioned, and they were filming Kitchen Nightmares in New Jersey. And the way that show works, which I'm sure you're kind of understanding a little bit, is like, we have a culinary crew. We help out. We go on and we consult with people and help them. So they needed a sous chef to help out with that. And Anthony had offered me because he couldn't go do it. So I went up and I hit it off with the team, and I got into Gordon Ramsay's kind of ecosystem, and the rest was history, as they say.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I did a season of Kitchen Nightmares, as a consultant, and then I went back, opened up a few restaurants, and I left the Borgata, went and became a chef, huge. Okay, like I was making $10 an hour at Sea Blue, $12 an hour, whatever the hell it was. Now I went and did the Gordon Ramsay thing, and now I am going to be, opening up several restaurants for Be Our Guest at Harrah's. And I did that for a few more years, and out of the blue, I got a phone call. Hey, this is, such and such from Hell's Kitchen. We are considering having you as Gordon's on-camera sous chef. Would you be interested? I went and did that. Did 4 seasons of that. And mind you, there was no social media at the time either. So I went and did that, and it was good. I had to leave my job, obviously, in Atlantic City. But that's fine. But then I had but I'm going to the West Coast. I'm coming back. I'm trying to piecemeal a career in between.
It's a new life at that point.
I started working with Chefs International. I spent some time across the street. I'm like literally looking at my old place of employment. Still have a great relationship with them to this day. So I did that, and then Hell's Kitchen called me back. I went back to Hell's Kitchen, and I'm like, well, this is getting hard. I can't do this. This is like, just it's a lot with stopping, pausing, West Coast, East Coast. And when I got back, I said, you know what? Asbury was on the rise. Now it's 2013, going into 2014, and I heard there were some opportunities in Asbury, and I went and I opened the beer garden. I got my investors to help me open the Bonnie Reed. And I've been doing other projects here and there. I've always kept my relationship with Gordon, and
hard work.
Yeah, and I don't stop, man. I've been through pandemics. We're going through today.
Craziness.
Driving, it just
Has that changed? I mean,
keep moving your feet.
It definitely had changed the landscape of the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
What did you do during that time frame? Like, how did you amalgamate? Like, what did you?
Yeah, I festered for a while. That was a very stressful time. I watched chefs like what you did. You tried to make pivots. I think one of the challenges I had with a seafood restaurant, which is really, you needed to go in there and sit down and get the experience. Like watch the guys shucking the oysters. Watch me breaking down whole swordfish on the chef table, like right inside the restaurant. Yeah. I didn't feel like it was the kind of thing where I could say, oh, you know what? Well, I'm just going to be a takeout lobster roll place.
Sure.
It was so I kind of, sat back and just observed, and
It was tough.
stayed tight. I took care of my staff,
Yeah.
I helped them out every way I could, whether I had to give them literal money, food,
Right.
or cover their benefits. And, granted, we were only really shut down for months at a time, which was stressful,
No, it was
really, when
hard
we
to
opened,
overcome,
we had to make, it was just every day I woke up like I have to go to war today and figure out
War.
what this is. It was war.
That's exactly how I look
Like,
at
it
it.
was-
Every day you got to go to battle.
Yeah,
you know?
you didn't know what the challenge was going to be, what the governor was going to tell you had to do for the day. Nobody. I mean, you had people that totally sympathized, and then you just had people that were just like lunatics that were just like took it out on you, and
Yeah.
that's kind of a theme for restaurants.
So, but you changed, even as of recently, some of the dynamics of the way the restaurant operates or offers, because you're seeing what's happening.
Yeah. So so Bonnie Reed, we had 10 years, almost 10, like nine successful years there. It was great, and it was a part of me. Again, I did that deal when I was young and right out of I was like wanting to do a seafood concept and really bring like that authentic experience to the shore. Now I'm a father of 4, and
Yeah.
I
Congrats,
have
by the way.
other interests.
Beautiful family.
Thank you
Beautiful
so much.
family,
Yeah, I love them very much, and I coach my son's lacrosse team. I try to go to my daughter's gymnastics competitions.
It's a tough
and-
balance.
Yeah, and it's like can I continue to do these 80-hour weeks in the summer, and then all of a sudden the light switch goes off with it, because the seafood concept is seasonal. No matter how you really want to slice it.
You got
We're-
12 good weeks.
New Jersey's a tough state, right?
Yeah.
We know that. Monmouth County, specifically the Jersey Shore, no matter how we slice it, it's seasonal. People, it's just seasonal. Even the full
I deal with
timers
it,
here.
yeah.
So it was like, okay, I need all of this staff for 3 months, none of this staff for 9 months.
It's crazy.
How do you give people, how do you manage that, right? And
It's tough.
It was always hard, and I always subsidized that. Like, all right, I'll keep it really lean. I'll work really hard in the winter, and then I'll have 80% of the core staff that I'll need. I'll work really hard in the summer.
So what he's saying is, even in the wintertime, those 9 months, he has to work just as hard to keep it lean. It's not.
Yeah,
it's
not
not
like
easy.
take it off,
It's not. I'm relaxing. It's twice. You're doing 3 jobs.
Yep, and you have rent. 12 months out of the year. It's not like all of a
Never
sudden
not
your
come.
bills go away. I mean,
Yeah.
to turn the lights on costs just as much in the dead of January as it does in August. So, there's a lot of things. A lot of it was lifestyle. A lot of it was really, I don't like bastardizing things. The Bonnie was very special to me. And mind you, a block away, I have the Black Swan. It's a European gastropub, and that concept lends itself more to the winter. So there's definitely seasonality to it.
Sure.
But the deltas aren't as dramatic, so I can kind of keep staff.
When you say it's more of a comfort food, laid
Yeah,
back,
I mean
bar scene.
it's very. If you haven't been in, come check it out. I'll buy you dinner. It's it's divided up. We have a pub. We have like a snug area. They call it the Vault. The dining room is gorgeous. It's very big and whimsical and flowers everywhere and
English style?
English. Yeah, I went kind of English with it. I was my feet. Look, at the end of the day, the foods are so similar. A true Brit and a true Irishman might get mad at who's his, but at the end of the day, it's shepherd's pie, it's fish and chips, it's curries, it's big Guinness, it's all these things. Typically Irish pubs are a little smaller. And British pubs, a little bit, bigger. At least the newer ones that I've been kind of observing. But I wanted to delineate from like an Irish pub at the Jersey Shore. There's some right around here that are, just because they put a shamrock on the wall doesn't make it a pub.
No.
And I was like, if I call it an Irish pub, they might not get it. So I was like, I'll go like the European. I'll do more of a British slant to it. We do the Scotch egg, the sausage roll. We have soccer on, football. So it's pretty cool. But going back to the Bonnie Reed, it was like, I don't want to bastardize it. Like, Raw Bar. We were talking about this before we started, shooting. Oysters cost 90 cents, right?
That's what they cost.
An employee now, just, let's say, you're paying them, by the time it's all said and done, if they're part-time, it's around the 30s, and then full-time employees are, around the 50s. I'm talking about just like a line cook, a guy to shuck an oyster. So it's costing you $150,000 a year to employ the raw bar. The oyster is costing you $1, not to mention all the...
A good oyster.
Yeah, and that's it. You're not going to serve a mud bug, and then you got to clean the oysters because, they're not always clean. So I take a lot of care and put a lot of pride and energy in the way I present our oysters and clams and shrimp and lobster cocktails and all of these things that you would see on a raw bar, making all the cocktails, all of that stuff. And it's like you go through all this work and people are like, why aren't oysters $1? Why not bucket shuck? It's like, dude, the oyster's costing me $1 and I got to pay 3 people who need to support a living in New Jersey. And so like, did the economics make sense of the raw bar? No, they didn't. Now you could bastardize it, which I'm not willing to do.
Right.
So it was like, all right, do we just take away the raw bar? I'm like, well, then it's not the Bonnie Reed anymore. So it was like we had to make a pivot. I think in a different environment, maybe on a bigger setting, I could do the Bonnie. I would like to bring that concept back, but for the location I'm in, for the seasonality of like where we're at and like the size of the space I had, I couldn't make the economics make sense anymore unless I was willing to do it. I turned 43 this year. I want to open up. I have a goal of 10 restaurants by the time I'm 50, and it's like, as much as I love it, as successful as it was, right? It's like
a lot of
I can't just keep this thing just for the sake of keeping it.
Yeah.
And there are some other factors that too, which I don't want to get into all of the granularity of it, but.
It's tough.
It's tough.
I mean, think about it. I serve oysters. I serve 6 for $18.
Yeah.
And I'd rather not. And he's getting complaints about a buck
Yeah.
an oyster.
You do it more. The way the raw bar worked is that, it used to get people in. That's why a lot of these big places are do 50-cent oysters. Yeah, you'll take a loss on the oyster because you're on the beach or you're on the waterfront and you can charge $7 for a Miller Lite.
Correct, right.
Which costs 89 cents.
Correct.
Literally a Miller Lite and an oyster cost the same.
Right.
But everybody wants the oyster for $1.
Exactly. It's nuts. It is nuts.
So like our business is pretty backwards. And the whole COVID thing is shedding light on it.
Oh,
and it's just all like things are coming to the surface now that like have to be addressed. They can't just keep getting swept under the rug. So there's and I don't know what exactly that's going to look like, but there's changes have to happen. Expectations have to change.
How do you keep everybody at the place so positive?
My staff and
yeah.
I don't want to pat myself on the back, because I'm not perfect. We do our best to really like my partner Sebastian and I, and we really do our best to run it like a family. Sometimes we can be a little grumpy or stern on people, but at the end of the day, like we genuinely love our staff, and I think the fact that they see us in the trenches with them, and they know like that we'll do anything for them, and we do have a really good business. What we do, we're all very proud of what we do. Like right down to our dishwashers, like everybody.
How do you procure
proud.
that staff, like the guys in the kitchen? I mean, of course, if I'm a young kid and if I have an opportunity to come to work for Chef James Avery, I'm going to jump at it. How do they come to you? So, is it tough to get staff?
It's always tough. I mean, I
even for you.
Yeah, I get people. I really do. Sometimes I feel though like people, when they come to work for me, they think that I'm gonna be like Yoda, and they're gonna be Luke Skywalker, and I'm just gonna be one-on-one with them. Like, here, this is how you make this, and this is that. It's funny. Like you will learn, and they get like, man, like I've been here 2 months, I'm not learning anything. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
like
you should be learning a lot every day.
Yeah. So like I do get those, but yes, I do get like I can see it. Like I've hired enough people now and worked with enough people to understand what the dynamic is going to look like. Some people really are very demanding of my time with them, and I understand. Like I hand selected my mentors, but I also was patient. I wasn't expecting a culinary school within like a few months of being there.
You love being in the mix still
I do. I love it. I love expediting. I love
Expo's your
yeah. I mean, I love cooking too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I can see the chaos, and my mind Like like when like Terminator. Like I see the numbers in front of me. I see.
Yeah.
And
Just
so like that's another way.
The Matrix.
And that's how I keep people. I keep people positive. Like that's one way.
You're in it. You're
Stressful
doing
night,
it. Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, we're good. I got it. Just do what I say to do when I say to do it, and I'll crack jokes and like keep everybody kind of like keep it lighthearted.
How do you decide which place to go?
Well,
when they show
I mean,
up?
I have to go where the smoke is, but again, 10 restaurants.
Go where the smoke is. I like that.
Yeah. But I want to have 10 restaurants by the time I'm 50. So it's like I can't be in 10 restaurants at once. So right out of the gate, it's like think with the end in mind. Like all my work, I really try to do front end loaded, meaning, I find a space, I get the restaurant, I concept it out, I design it, I write the menu, I go in, I tweak everything. I spend a ton of time for those first few months, 6 months, getting it right, and then I slowly start trying to paint myself out the front door, and then I can just come in and turn the knobs. Like that's ideally what I want to see myself doing. So people say, how do you have 2 restaurants? It's like I think, and maybe I'm wrong because I haven't gotten there yet, but I would imagine that in some respects, in terms of like time in restaurants, will get easier as I have more. It's like easier to have a bigger thing because then you have people. I have a corporate
support
chef.
you.
I'll have a director of operations. I'll have a bar manager. Right now, when it's small, me and my partner and I, we wear most of those hats. But as I grow, I want to be passing those hats. So it's a good exercise for me to really like let people do their job, not set an expectation and don't micromanage. Which it's hard to do that.
Set expectations, policy, procedure.
Yeah, like have this is, and that a lot of that came from my corporate background. Like I said, I worked at my first job was at a super corporate multi-unit operating
in Florida.
And like you see that and you're like, wow. And then you can apply that to the nuance of one-off restaurants, fine dining. Having a smaller approach in terms of like the experience. Like we're not. I don't want people to walk in my restaurant and feel like they're at, a big box restaurant next to a mall. But I want the operation to run that way. But I want you to feel like you're walking into James Avery's, dining room.
Yeah, looking for James. Hoping to see his face.
But you asked me about the positive thing. Yeah, I mean, it's hard because there's a lot of things that I think are frustrating people today, especially people that work in this industry.
Can you name a few? Without
very simply.
It's
very simply put, the economics.
Meaning the price of things, the cost
Price
of
of
employees.
things, cost, but not even on our side, right? Like at the end of the day, I think people are stressed out. Like they can't. Like my staff, they go to the if they're feeling the same pain we're
Grocery
feeling.
stores, insane.
Grocery stores, cars, gas, student loans. And I feel for these young people that are in these situations. And it's like, and they come in and they're like, I could bust my ass today, and it's like I only make $200, and it's like my rent's due, my car payment's due, and it's well fuck, how do I fix this for you guys? Okay, well I start thinking they have to make more money, so that means sales have to go up, but there's only so many people I can fit in my restaurant.
Only so many times you can raise prices.
All right, so, and if I have these concepts that need 4 busters and 8 servers, and it's like, okay, so how do I get it to where I have less people making more money in my building? And that was a huge reason why I pivoted my seafood restaurant.
And it's tough to cut those people too.
And it's like, I think trying to figure out how can I have less people, I'll always figure out how to make my costs work. At least I'll try to, right? Like, but I want my staff to come in and be like, okay, like I have an opportunity, I can actually make money.
It's tough. Server leaves with $60.
Yeah,
and they got you feel that pain. Yeah, no, it's something that you don't want to say it, but it happens. There's more than
and you're
more than times I'd like to.
And what's crazy now, right? Like with this whole economic debacle that we're in, is people are spending less money. Like I think that's a objectively true statement. So what they're doing, they're only going out on Saturday at 7:00. That's
My
it.
God.
So what
knows.
do I tell the Monday, Tuesday people, the front of house staff, right? It's like, what do you I don't know.
I just had this conversation with somebody. He's 100% correct. People can see you busy on a Saturday night and be like, "How are you not making money hand over fist?"
Yep.
Well, where are you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when I got to give prime rib
9
away?
o'clock.
You know what I mean?
9 o'clock at night. Done. Reservations are done. So it's like, figuring out how to pivot our business. And look, this isn't all doom and gloom. It's just these are some realities that we have to face, and kind of
why prices are where they're at,
right.
though,
I hired a consultant coach last year, a very successful, well-known chef, Craig Shelton, and he's like a mentor to me. Like, I became friends with him during COVID. He's a really, really, really like intelligent guy, and we would have like really intense conversations about. Restaurants are one of the only businesses that we don't even offer dynamic pricing. So think about airlines, hotels,
time,
Uber.
Yeah. Think about that.
So like people, so a cheeseburger or whatever a steak dinner. I mean, like, we charge the same for you to come out on the best, most busy time of the week to have that same steak dinner, like versus on a Tuesday. And then we try to cover it up with, we'll give you a discount on Tuesday, this and that. It's
exactly.
Like imagine if you went out, I want to eat at 7 o'clock on Saturday. Yeah. Okay, cool. Steak dinners at that time on that day are $100 each.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we have X amount of seats, right? We have to take what our annual costs are, right, on the year, and we have to divide it by the amount of times we can turn those seats.
Correct.
And that's how you have to figure out. It's like we don't look at things like that, or people haven't historically.
The most expensive thing for us is an empty seat. But when you can only use it one time, like when people call me at my restaurant, can I get a 7 o'clock? And now they're calling me on a Thursday for this Saturday. Now, mind you, they're calling me Thursday for this Saturday. It's so close to the weekend. They're like, can I get a 7 o'clock reservation? My first thing is, sir, ma'am, if I have a 7 o'clock table available for you at this late in the game, I'm in trouble.
Right.
So I have something for you at 5:30, or I have something at 8:15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I can't use that table twice. I can't use that chair twice.
No.
That costs me money.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. So at the end of the day, like, depending on where you are, if you're in New York City, you go to Baltazar on a Tuesday. I went there. I was literally at Baltazar in the city with my wife at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. About 6 months ago, and it's just like people are out ordering bottles of wine and towers of seafood because you just have this crazy velocity and density. But at the end of the day, you don't have that at Jersey Shore, right? So restaurants, and that's pretty much all of suburbia. Like, you have these non-urban communities. They're paying a geographical penalty, right? That's one of the things I learned.
Geographical penalty.
Yeah, that's one of the
for 6 weeks out of that summer, we have an intensity.
Yeah.
Because towards the end, kids are going to college. It becomes a mess for us. Who we're losing.
Yeah, that's the worst.
The end of the season.
Halfway through August, half your staff goes back to school.
Yeah,
and that's, by the way, the last 2 weeks of August, everybody wants to get their. Yeah. That's when we just fire back up, and it's like we're doing it without. I have no hostesses right now.
Yeah, nobody. You're scrambling because your help just abandoned you.
So but again, it's like, okay, well, it's kind of like it is what it is, right? Like that's like, I don't know how to change that. I can only change the variables that I can control, the controllables, and that's what my business model is, and that's how it operates. Like, I talked to my partner, he's really my director of operations as well, and it's like, he's like, I can't find hostesses, I don't know, and Monday nights, and I'm like, well, what does a restaurant look like without a hostess? Like, let's start with that question. I'm not saying it's even viable,
sure,
but at least let's ponder the thought.
So you walk in, nobody's there.
Right. Is it a sign?
Yeah.
Is it a sign that says, please seat yourself? Yeah. I mean, movie theaters are doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're thinking outside the box.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, what is it going to look like? Because
So you bring up a good point. So now you can actually use technology.
Correct.
So there's things at the table that people can order themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now you're
right.
you're forced at that $20 an hour minimum wage. We were just talking about that. California just went to $20, and people are dropping like flies.
Yeah.
How can you sustain it? I can't sustain that for server staff that's making 20% on top of that. It's just a tough situation.
No, and so it's like those are the kinds of things we need to say to ourselves as operators, right? If we really want to be in this for the long haul, which I do.
Mm-hmm. You got 8 more restaurants to go.
Yeah, I got a long way to go. And now, are they going to be full service fine dining restaurants? Probably not.
You got a burger joint in there somewhere?
Maybe.
your brain?
I had one. I had a burger joint.
In your brain, you got something? 'Cause
Yeah, I mean,
that's
that's
something
all
that always.
they always
No
work,
ma-
right?
yeah, no matter
Yeah.
what, you know.
No, they people like them, but it's like, it's funny. We were talking about burgers and like the cost. It's like I heard like a McDonald's. I don't know. I haven't eaten McDonald's in 20 years. No offense to anybody who does. I just don't. But I heard that they're charging like $13-14 for a Big Mac meal now. Did you hear that? I'm just saying. I'm just thinking we're talking about pricing. It's like,
But that's insane. I
you
remember
know,
a dollar menu
Yeah.
back in the day, way back in the
it's
day.
just
Yeah.
even
Everything was a
even
buck.
McDonald's is feeling it. And they're gonna have a bunch of
Yeah, no, it's tough
robots.
stuff.
Yeah, burger place. I'm getting really into like the health and wellness space. I've always been into health, but you're kind of seeing like you're seeing this, like there was always like health and there was always like food and foodie. Like it was like, heavy French dining and wine and alcohol and indulgence and decadence and all that. And then there was like health food, but now you're starting to see like this
Emerge, yeah.
And I love it because I'm like, I'm hoping that's going to be like something that I can figure out how to dovetail, I don't know yet even what that means, man. But it's like I do love it because I am passionate about health and healthy eating. I had a concept. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. It was right before COVID. It was called Farmly. It's basically a farm-to-table Boston market, more or less.
You know what? And they thrive in South Florida. We were just there,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, but again, it goes back to this whole geographical penalty,
Sure,
right?
sure.
Like, if that was in Manhattan, I'd have a line around the block.
as soon as it opened.
But I remember I was getting beat up. I was selling like organic, non-GMO, like rotisserie chickens, and I was literally going down to Shenandoah Valley, meeting the farmers, and their chickens were costing me $9-10.
Yeah, and how many people really?
And I was like $17 for a whole chicken. I was making less than 50% margin. You know what I mean? And people were like,
It's too much.
"It's too much." I'm like, I guess I can't compete with Costco with like their like.
Or shop right with your.
Yeah, and
with
I'm just.
your-
So it was like,
chicken,
but back to it, like I want to do something where I can provide people with an amenity of like healthy, wholesome food that is good for you. So that's kind of like what's spinning in the brain right now.
You ever in the restaurant when no one's there? Is that your favorite time?
Yeah, it
Early.
used to be. Yeah, it is. Like I love getting there early, like having my coffee.
Nobody's there.
I'm like the
Stock maybe.
Yeah. I'm like a checker. I like to come in and get in the drawers.
When was the last time you made you got yourself in there like let me make a
made
stock?
something?
Yeah,
Not that long ago. I make
Yeah?
all the specials still. I go in like
that's awesome.
yeah, like not all the specials. I say I want them to have some fun and like come
Sure.
up with some ideas. But like I mean, I'm at least cooking chef coat, knife in hand. This time of year, not as much. But I mean, I would say in the summer, almost every day.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to really let the reins out. So it's probably been about 3 weeks or so, maybe a month.
Yeah.
But I'm in there all the time. Like I have meetings all the time. I have this. I'm hiring. I spend a lot of my time right now on the marketing side. So I am always filming myself cooking food. I'm meeting.
Yeah, it's changed.
But
It's changed.
I kind of pivoted from like using a third party to do my marketing. So I hired a full-time guy.
Yeah.
He's in-house. So like we're constantly trying to generate.
No, I see. I
content.
actually see it. I see.
Yeah.
So it's not. It's working. You know?
Yeah, no, I appreciate
You're
that
out there.
'cause I'm like heavily invested into it.
Can I tell you, if I told you that I had 500,000 people in my kitchen this weekend, you'd be like, "What?"
What?
Yeah, and we go live in our kitchen.
Oh, got it.
So on social media,
That's cool.
and so we had 500,000 people popping in and out. At one time, we had a max of 5,000 at one
Right.
time. But man, there's such an interest.
People, yeah.
Technology has
Yeah.
changed the way. So
Yeah.
now, it's so crazy because now I got
Very
people
original.
flying in or driving down from PA, staying upstairs at our hotel, and then coming to have dinner and then staying in Manasquan for a couple of days. So I would have never got that customer if I didn't have that technology. And that's the way, if you're not embracing the social media, I don't know.
You have to, you know.
I don't know what to tell you.
And I'm like not a tech guy. Like even my own social media is not like fabulous. But like I see the guys that are killing it today, like the restaurants that are murdering it, and their social media is like
On
really,
point, yeah.
really on point. The message is clearly defined. Like you transcend there almost by looking at it.
Yeah,
And
everybody's
it's
got
like,
a phone in their hand.
Yeah, and so it's just like if you're not doing that, I mean, you're kind of dead in the water. We live in an attention economy. You got to get people's attention, and it's got to be grabbing, and it's evolving so quickly. Like, social media and the way you use it, the algorithms. It's a whole discipline in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But being an entrepreneur, I have to know it. It's not an option to like, and it's almost like
choice,
it's so expensive to let somebody else do it for you that if they're wrong or it's not authentic, you're just lighting money on fire. So it's like, it's something that I feel as a business owner, I have to be involved in it. And I spend a lot of my time doing that is the moral of my story.
Yeah.
And then, then it's like, I got to couple that with working out an hour and a half a day. I got to, keep my finger on the pulse at multiple parts.
Definitely working out an hour and a half a day.
I got to go coach lacrosse. I want to be a husband. And so it's like, trying to like do all these things. So, the days of me pretending to be Marco Pierre White for 14 hours a day in the kitchen are kind of...
It's tired.
Right? Yeah, and it's not that I don't love it. It's not that... I know chefs that do it. It's just, again, I turned 43 last month, and I'm making decisions that are like, okay, like this is who I am. And listen, I love being a chef. I think if I changed professions this day, I think people would still call me Chef James. I think it's just ingrained in my soul at this point. But
are you patient or impatient?
Depends, I guess.
You're at the food store. Are you saying behind?
Oh, for sure. I think we all say that. Behind. I say that to everybody.
Come on, get out of the way.
Oh my God, that's why my wife hates when I'm at home and I'm cooking. I'm just like watching her workspace.
You bring a lot of chef out in the real world, and people don't understand. It's a craziness that we have.
Yeah, but it's like even in my kitchens, I'm like a big jokester. Like
prankster or jokester?
Jokester. Like I like to keep. It's hard enough. Like you don't need to be a prick and make the job harder. So like I try to like walk that line of like, okay, like. This is like it's a 10-hour day, 8-hour day, whatever the hell it is, right? It's like let's just like have a smile on our face while we're doing it, and like remind them, and like so it's like knowing how to turn the levers. Like okay, they're fooling around too much. I need to apply a little pressure. This guy over there is getting a little cocky. I'll send his food back, or like somebody will do something stupid. Right. Yeah, you idiot. Like, we'll make jokes. And I'll make fun of the runner.
But it's never.
It's like just keeping things lighthearted. So like I'm patient. I lose my patience when people generally don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like if they're like just like acting like whatever. Like then I like lose my mind. But if you're
indifferent,
if you're like engaged and you're trying and you're whatever, then I'm pretty patient. But
I think we first met because they did something about on Yelp. Our responses to Yelp. You had some funny answers. Some people,
I forget
reviews are funny. When you're on the money side of the exchange and you have that entitlement, that feeling of let me go destroy these people. You know what I mean? That hurts me.
Yeah, I mean Yelp is just like the trailer park of
synonymous with help.
It's just like I read reviews because you have to be able to take criticism, and I read Google reviews. I read my Facebook reviews. I even read the Yelp reviews. But you have to know how to discern, like, who's an asshole, and who actually like is like giving you something that you need to ponder.
Yeah, feedback.
And not even positive. It might be, listen, I came in and this meal sucked, and you see 10 of those reviews. That meal probably sucks.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to go and address it. Yeah. But like you see these Yelps and it's like. It was a Saturday night and my table took 10 minutes and then they just rip you apart for like everything about the restaurant. And then the last sentence is, and all of that for $250. Like that was your problem. Yeah. That was your real, just say that, just say, I didn't want to spend that money, and that's what it comes down to. Because like I get Yelps from people that don't even eat in the restaurant. I'll get a 1-star Yelp because they couldn't get a table.
Right.
I'll get a 1-star Yelp. I had a guy come in with his wife and his daughter. Daughter was 18. They told us straight up. He said, she's gonna have a glass of wine, but I'll order it. We're like, you can't do that.
No.
You can't do that.
You want my license?
They can. So he's like, fine. Server comes back. Daughter's drinking wine. We said nicely. We you're putting us in an awkward position.
Very awkward.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
They give us a 1-star Yelp, and admitted to doing that
online.
Online. They said our daughter's 18. She's an adult.
You hope people would discern.
So then it's like, yeah, but it's still, it affects your Yelp. And then here's the thing. I don't know if people know this, but Yelp will actually call business owners and say, hey, I noticed you got a 1-star Yelp this week. We're running this package. If you'd like to advertise, we're happy to take down any recent. Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, it's literally
blackmail,
extortion.
Extortion, yeah.
And people are feeding it. So whatever.
I
feel bad for people that, listen, and I know there's people that use Yelp in a positive way, but overwhelmingly, it is used as a weapon for assholes. And I think restaurants, I think we need to have it like Uber. Like I think we need our own app.
Review.
Like Open Table. Imagine if I could leave, somebody came to my restaurant, was atrocious, left no tip, sent everything back. I could go on Open Table and say, oh, this person sucked. 1-star review for this customer. So on that Saturday at 7, when you have all these reservations, you could say, oh, this person, I'm bumping that person.
Yeah, get them
Sorry.
out. See
Let them know. Come in on a Wednesday.
I love that idea.
You can try it on a Tuesday when we're dead.
I'm going to call Open Table. Let's see if we get that.
Dude, I think that's my $1 billion idea. So
listen, this is a lot of great insight here today to Chef James Avery. If you haven't heard, he has 2 great places. One has just been changed. He has the Black Swan, and the other one is now named the Mainstay.
It's like the top of a sale.
Mainstay, the Mainstay. They're both in Asbury. Please check them out. Before we go, do you have any? I'm sure we're going to see you in the near future somewhere, some way.
Always popping up.
Yep, somewhere, some way. But do you have any advice for a young kid who wants to kind of follow in your footsteps?
Absolutely. Don't give up. Times are tough. It sounds cliche. Get tougher. Just keep grinding. Keep moving your feet. I don't stop. I've been through a lot, and good things keep happening to me because I don't give up. Because I don't,
keep swimming.
My feet, keep swinging the hammer. Just keep fucking going. That's all I can tell you. And don't get frustrated about the money you're making now. You don't need $1 million.
What do you do when you feel down? How do you get out of it?
Work out. I work out. I meditate. I and it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's like I get stuck like any other human being. But I just keep going, even when I don't feel like it. I just keep going. 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 And eventually, something good will happen. You
guys hear that? Chef James Avery. I want to thank Wingman Planning for allowing us to have this interview here today. And guys, keep an eye out for Chef James. Some exciting stuff in the future. Chef, thanks so much.